So hey guys, today we are going to move from simpler workflows to complex workflows. We're going to work on industry grade workflows which you can sell to businesses. We'll also learn about JSONs, which is the core of n8n. So welcome to day 3 of learning n8n from scratch. Let's get into it. So let's understand what's a JSON first. JSON is nothing but JavaScript object notation, and it was primarily made for using in JavaScript language, but then it became a universal way to transfer data. So JavaScript is nothing but a programming language. So website can be made in many languages, but primarily it's made using HTML, which is the basic structure, and there is CSS to design it. But for functionality, we use JavaScript. O is for object, which we'll discuss in a moment, and notation is all the symbols which we use. So coming back to object, so this is how an object looks. It's always inside a parenthesis. An object contains all the information always. Object is like this container and it has all the values in it. So values is nothing but the information which is actually stored inside an object. But the problem is values can be identical and it can be very difficult to understand which value is which. For example, you can see here, there are a lot of tomatoes here and it is very difficult to differentiate it. And let's say one tomato is one value, but without a key, it cannot be distinguished. So as you can see, key is like a label to the value. Key is nothing but a group of strings which is assigned to a value so that we can distinguish values. So as you can see, keys, they are just labels. And if you have any knowledge of programming languages, you know that strings are always written inside quotes, and key is nothing but a string, so it's always written inside quotes, and always in the left hand side everything is written inside quotes. Now let's talk about values. Values is the information stored. So string is nothing but text, number, or whatever it is, but it's put inside quotes so that there is no calculation whatsoever done with it. But number, it's not put inside quotes. So when there is no quotes, there is always a arithmetical calculation or data validation or some other purpose for it. Here, number can be used for arithmetical valuation or sorting or whatever it is. And Boolean can be used for data validation, whether it's true or false. Null to represent whether it's null data, but you can also use empty strings for it. Now there is object as a value. So what does this mean? Object is what holds value, right? How can a value be an object again? So we saw this container. Now imagine this container holding a lot more containers. That is definitely possible, right? A container can hold more containers inside it. So that's the same way how object works. In this JSON example, you can see a lot more parenthesis symbols other than these two. As you can see, this one, the parent object is closed here, and there is an object value which is closed here. And there's another object value called person, which holds this person's information, that is closed here. And inside that person's object, there is something called a details object, which holds the information of his city and whether if he's employed or not. So this is called object nesting. When you put objects inside object, that's called object nesting. And the last type is array. Array is nothing but a list of values, and it can be any values, by the way. So in this array, there is an apple, that is string value, there is a number, and there is a boolean, and there is also the null. But there is something which is not here, that is you can add objects also inside an array. So any value can go inside an array. So that is the basic of JSON, and you have to understand that JSON is the core of n8n. Everything in n8n is just purely JSON. So as we've understood JSON, you must also understand logic flow from our last videos. Now we'll make a comprehensive industry grade workflow including all these elements we have learned. This workflow primarily focuses on data cleaning. So there's a source lead sheet where we'll remove duplicate records and null records, and the data is validated. For example, if phone number is missing or phone number is wrong, and if email is missing or city is missing or name is missing, that data will not be validated. But all of this data, if it's there, it will directly go to the clean leads sheet. But if it's not there, we are not going to lose all that data because leads are important. So all these failed leads will go into review lead sheet, where a human will come and review the sheet. So that's where we are adding human to the loop. But we are not stopping there. There's another workflow which will help the human to automate this process. In the review lead sheet, there will be a status called reviewed. So after the human reviews it, he can put a Y in that column. So what will happen? It will get all the roles and remove the duplicate nodes. This is done because when you run workflows a lot more times, a lot more items will come up. So this is just a safety measure. It will also sort for deletion. That is, it will sort it in a descending order. And there is an if node which will revalidate data. We are not blindly trusting humans here. When they have reviewed it also, it gets re-reviewed by the machine. If all is good, it will go to the clean leads and it will get deleted from the review lead sheet. But if it failed the validation, it will be marked as failed in the review lead sheet. So this was the overview. I'll show you how to make this workflow. So I've already arranged the lead sheet. There is 3 sub sheets in this. That is source leads, review leads, and clean leads. So as you can see, review leads is empty, clean leads is empty, and source leads is filled. This is a sample data set which I took from ChatGPT. It has name, email, phone, city, and company. And there is review leads here. This has extra columns like reviewed and review status. So you have to pre-fill the columns alone. And clean leads, it just has the same columns as the source leads. So I have pre-built all these workflows. I'll show you how to make this workflow, no problem. But you can also access these workflows directly in the description. I have given it. You can download for free. So when we manually execute this, all the rows from the source lead sheet, it will come up here. So here, as you can see, there are 52 rows. The same thing will come up here. 52 rows will come up here. Now, as you can see, Grace has been duplicated and we don't need duplicate records. Also, Benjamin doesn't have phone and email. So that it seems like a null lead. Same with Lucas. So 10, 27 and 52 must be eradicated when it runs through the filter here. That is this. If you're a person who doesn't know code, you can skip this code node for now. I mean, listen to me, you can come back to this. I'll show you how to generate that code node. You can just remove this code node from here and you can directly go into validation. So in validation, just have to drag your mail here, make sure it's not empty, phone here and make sure it's not empty, city here, make sure it's not empty, and company here and make sure it's not empty. So just drag it here and choose string not empty. Now what about this phone? I have used American phone numbers here, as you can see, and I chose the option called match rejects. So where you can get this? So you could go to chat GPT. You can go to chat GPT and explore GPTs. There you can find this. You can find this custom GPT called n8n assistant. You can type it and you can find it. You can start a chat with it. I've already asked it, I want you to make a regex to validate American phone numbers like this one. So it will give you back a regex. What you have to do is you have to copy that code. You have to come back to your node and you just have to paste it here. Now, when you execute this step, paste it here. So that will give you the if node, and rest is just updating your records. So you just have to type sheets and add this update, append or update rows in sheet. So something like this will open up. You just have to connect your accounts. By the way, if you don't know to connect your accounts, press this I button. You will not understand how to connect your sheets. Next, you have to choose your sub sheet. I have chosen clean leads, and personally, I have mapped each column manually just for safety. You could also map automatically, but sometimes it breaks, so I prefer this. And column to match on is name, and again I have just matched name with name, mail with mail, phone with phone, city with city, and company with company. What you have to do next is just copy this and paste it here, and you just have to choose review. I mean, it's all is the same. You just have to choose review and rest will be the same. Only this 2 extra columns will come, which you have to leave empty for now. Still our code node is missing. So what you have to do is we just have to copy this and go back to our n8n assistant and tell, I need a code node which helps me remove the duplicates and null records with no phone or mail. If you don't have phone or mail, I don't think we need that lead here, but in your use case, it may be different. For example, if you have a website, so you'll have to put that also. No phone or mail or website. If 3 of them is not there, then that lead is not useful for you. You can put that. In this workflow, after the node, get rows. And I've pasted what we copied from there, just like that. It'll be pasted in the JSON format and it'll give you the code directly. So what you have to do is you just have to copy this node, come back to our workflow, type code in JavaScript and just paste it and you are good to go. Now we'll execute this workflow. So as you can see, review leads, clean leads, the workflow has been executed. As you can see, 51 items went in, 48 items only came out. So what must have been filtered? All the duplicate records and the null records would have been filtered here. So last time we found that there was Grace duplicate and there was 2 more people who don't have their phone or mail. So they have been eradicated correctly here. The code worked. 3 of them have been removed and 20 is clean here. 28 is not clean. Phone or mail is missing here. That's why it has come to review. In clean leads, as you can see, everything is filled perfectly. So that's why the clean version has come, and there is no duplicate records. There are name which is repeating, but as you can see, their details will be different. Now the next workflow will be heavily focused on this lead sheet, that is review lead sheet. Now human will come in and he will start evaluating this. For example, I want to change this Oscar's name to Ben 10 because that was his real name and his company is Liam Corp only. So as a human, I worked in this and have reviewed it by. So that's good to go. But after that, I became lazy and I just reviewed it by just like that because I want to skip my work. I went to middle also, and then after that, I just started ruining the sheet and I just called it a day. Now this n8n workflow will run through that lead sheet every day. You can change it to every minute, every hour, however you like. So what it will do is there is a get rows sheet again. So this get rows sheet will get all the rows from the review leads. Now we don't have to work with all the rows. We only have to work with the rows which has been marked as Y. So that's how we'll filter it. We'll add an if node where we'll drag this reviewed into this And if that is equal to y, then only pass it, or else don't pass it. See the false node, it's empty, or else you can just put this do nothing. It's the same. So false has operation do nothing, and whichever column has y in it, it is passed through this. So as you can see, there are 308 items passed because I have run this workflow a few times. So that is why we are adding a code node again here, which deduplicates stuff. So you can add this code node again using the same trick like I taught you before. You don't have to add it the first time. You can finish the rest of the workflow, copy it, paste it into that GPT what I told you, and you can just explain a situation and it will give you the code to be added here. So I'll just add that code back again. So in this code, what I have did is deduplicated and sorted all the leads. That's it. In this code, there is nothing but deduplication and sorting of all the leads. So you can tell that to the GPT and it will give you the node. After that, we have all the single records of Y, which the human claims to have been reviewed, but we just can't push it to clean leads yet. We'll be reviewing it again because humans can make mistakes and we can't afford it because we need very clean data. So that's why we'll be reviewing it again with the same review which we used in the first workflow. You can copy and paste it here. So if it's true, that means the review it has passed the review. That means human did the job well and good. It will be pushed to the clean leads finally, and it will be deleted from the review sheet. So for that, what you have to do is you have to add this Google Sheet. Just have to choose the operations, delete rows or columns, and you have to choose the review lead sheet, rows, and here in the start row number, when you see the recent node doesn't have a row number. So for that, we'll go to the past node, and here there is a row number. Just choose that row number and push it here. So we are good to go now. One more sheet here, which is saying mark invalid as fail. This is again a Google Sheet node. Here, what we are doing is we are updating a row, and we'll be mapping each column manually, and column to match on its row number or name, whatever it is, you can choose, and have manually mapped it like last time. Row number, I have put row number here. Name, I have put name here. And you can also put all of these nodes individually. But review status will be empty this time. And we can't leave it empty. This time review status will be filled fail because these things have failed. And we have to update that in our sheet. Now that has finished all our workflow. After running the first workflow, we have got the clean leads and review leads. And our human has done the job here. All that's left here is to run this workflow here. Now I'll execute this workflow. Seems like it has executed successfully. And when we go back, n8n has been missing from here. That means it has passed the test and it has been appended to the clean sheets. But as you can see, these leads, it failed. And correctly, those rows are being marked as failed. So the human can't outsmart here. So the human will have to work properly or else his work will be caught here. So guys, our automation has worked perfectly. These automations may seem small, but think with thousands and millions of leads. How useful will that be? You can think a step ahead and also automate this part of filling the leads properly. That will be an extension of this automation. But this automation is good enough for a lot of use cases. So that is it for today. And by the way, I've already told you could find these workflows in the description. And in the next class, I'll be teaching you more about APIs. And after that, we'll start using AI agents. So I hope you subscribe and I'll see you in the next video.